Hey there, once again. Hi, I'm Scott Welsh, and this is the Beating the Market YouTube channel, YouTube videos that go up once a week. Now, the people have spoken for this week's video. Got a great YouTube comment the other day on one of the previous videos, and they were asking me about testing and how much is needed to have a good system. I love giving the people what they want, so that's what we're going to talk about this week, and I'm excited to do so. Three things today. When you talk about backtesting, know this: backtesting is complicated. How complicated? Well, you'll have to wait and see. What is the magic number of trades that you need to see? Is there such a thing? We'll talk about that. And are there exceptions to this rule? Going to be a fun one today, don't you think? This is the part of our program where you get to know me. You don't get to see my face in front of the camera. Hopefully you will someday soon. But this is me trading. This was back in my earlier days, a few years ago, trading with my friends. We're really getting involved in the market. You can see that we're all very good friends. Can you tell by the rapport? And there I am on the left. Actually, that's me on the far left. I'm ordering 4-foot-long subs for me and my buddies. So anyway, now you get to know me a little bit. Moving on. Back testing, anytime we start talking about it, it is tricky. Oh, and it's also boring, by the way, okay? If you're going to back test, right, and you're a real back tester and you're going to try to make something that you can trade and trust, it takes hours and hours of deep concentration. Seriously. If you're going to do something, you have to sit at your computer and it has to be literally up to 2 hours, no more than 3. And in that 2 hour to 3 hour period, you don't do anything else, right? It doesn't mean you're checking Twitter, you're not doing email. You have to sit there and watch each test. At least this is my tip to you. Watch each test, watch it go through its permutations, watch the result, make a hypothesis, test something else. I mean, you have to give it your full attention. How many people can give backtesting their full attention for an hour or 2 or 3? Um, I don't know a lot of people. That's not something a lot of people do. A lot of people like to look at their phones. I'm not preaching. I'm not looking down on anyone. I am not a phone person. I am not a social media addict. This is something that I love to do, which makes me a freak and possibly some sort of weird hermit that lives under a bridge. But that all being said, if you can't focus for an hour, 2 or 3, then forget it. Well, don't forget it. You can learn to concentrate, right? Just put your phone down. But I'm telling you, you probably won't make something that you can trust. Okay. Otherwise, if you don't listen to my sage advice, then if you have a couple variables in your system, you start on one, and then you'll be like, oh, I want to test the Bollinger Band. So you start on that, and then, oh, wait, what if I did the 30-minute chart instead of the 15-minute chart? Oh, and then you start that. And then you say, well, wait, what if I do this on a different currency pair? And you do that. If you get distracted, you can spend 2 or 3 hours and end up exactly nowhere, right? You have to follow one path. I'm going to test one variable. I'm going to see how it turns out. I'm going to see how it affects the others, and so forth. If you're not focused, you might even start testing one system and then flip off to another system, right? Don't flip anyone off. You know what I mean, right? Nothing gets done if you lose your place, right? Nothing good starts in a getaway car, and nothing gets done if you lose your place in testing, even for a couple minutes. It's tricky and it's boring, and you need to be ready for both. Oh, it's also complicated. If you have a lot of ideas about systems and you think, okay, well, what if I added this? What if I added this? What if I added this? Like I was when I started. What if I add this? That was my favorite trick. If you have several variables in one system, it gets overwhelmingly complicated, truly, because you have 7 variables in your trading system. You got a filter, and you got a time, and you got a ADX, whatever. If you have 7, let's say, changing one variable changes everything. If you change one variable, guess what? you have to test everything else. It's like you can't really even hold something constant if you have a bunch of variables, because one tiny thing changes everything. Remember your old philosophical story, a butterfly flaps and swings as Tokyo and the weather changes in New York? This is true if you have a ton of variables. So be careful. Test one and then realize that it's already affected everything else. If you test two at a time, that's the absolute maximum. I would never test more than two at a time if you want my humble, arrogant opinion. You do, and there are only very specialized circumstances where I've ever tested two at a time. I am very big on testing one thing at a time. Okay. As I said, just doing one thing affects everything, right? Now, again, what do I mean by that? Well, let's say you change the filter, right? You only want to take a trade when the momentum indicator is above zero. Well, by testing for what length of momentum indicator, that will change the amount of stop loss that's most effective for you. See what I'm saying? And if that stop loss changes, then you got to test something else. Maybe your target changes if you have one, or maybe your holding period, or maybe your filter. They all affect each other. Understand? And you need to be aware of it. And furthermore, backtesting is not for everyone. If it's even 1% boring, if you don't have the absolute joy of sitting down and testing something, I don't like your chances on making something that will work for you. Real life probably won't turn out like you're testing if you're bored, if you lose concentration, if you can't sit on one idea for an hour or two or three. By the way, never more than three. The human brain cannot be elite for more than 3 hours. That's a fact. It's science. Anyway, but you can't cut corners, and that's what boredom or distraction gives you. It makes you cut corners. If you cut corners, something bad is going to happen. You need to be willing to triple check the double check. You need to be able to go through your testing and then go back and test it again and test it again. And you have to like it. Otherwise, you'll probably make a mistake. Understand? If that's not you, then what? Well, to get around the problems of back testing, you can have someone else do it who likes it, right? Find someone you trust and just have them do it. There's no reason why you have to sit at home and read testing papers at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night like I did the other night, right? I was reading white papers on testing of momentum and value investing, right? You don't have to do that. That doesn't have to be your life. You can have someone else do it. Also, if you are, though, going to pick someone else, how trustworthy are they? I'd talk to them or ask them a few email questions, or maybe have them send them a few tests, or ask them, a bit of their background, right? Please try to vet your back tester for you. Um, I don't know. There's a couple people I think I would test in this or trust in this world for testing, but they're not a lot. Again, not a lot of people like doing that. So I would definitely recommend someone else back testing for you, or the short version of all this, just buy someone else's system. You don't have to actually have them back test for you. You can just buy their system too, right? Or if you're insistent upon doing your own system, make it simple. I didn't want to believe this when I first got into testing. People said simple systems work best, and I'm like, go pound sand. That's not true, right? I need complications because that's what makes it good. I didn't believe it, but I think I believe it. Right? The simpler the system is, the higher the probability it will actually work in real life slash pressure. Right? Same thing for tennis. Remember, I spent 22 years training high performance elite tennis players, and if their strokes were complicated, meaning their footwork was all over the place, they had a big backswing, they had wild follow throughs, their racket face was all over the place, that's not going to work under pressure. A simple stroke with simple rules with no variables worked under pressure, and it's the same for trading. Simple system with simple variables and not that many of them, chances are that's going to work great in real life for you. Okay, so that's one way. Forget all the hours and hours of testing. Just make your system simple. That is a way around all this, right? There's a gem in this video this week. Just have a simple system. All right, what's the simplest system I know of? Buy and hold. Does buy and hold work? Yes. it is the market, right? Hence an index fund. So keep it simple. Or you could use large statistical numbers to put the odds in your favor. And that's really where the question for this week's talk came from. What is the amount of trades, or what number is the magic one where we know that something, well, you never know, but we can be confident that it will work going forward, okay? And as I mentioned, thank you, YouTube commenter. I really appreciate the feedback. Got a lot of feedback lately, actually. Thank you. I love it. But anyway, so what is a good number of trades? So you run your testing over, X amount of data. How many trades do you need to see before you can feel good? All right. Well, when I was first, we're talking about, I had just started with automated strategies. I had just built my first one, and I paid a mentor to train me how to test. Right. That's how this all started. My expert, my mentor said 300 was a good number. So he told it to me, worked out well. I'm passing that on to you. Now that is 300 each way. So that's 300 longs and 300 shorts. So 600 total if you're going both directions. Got it? That seemed to make sense to me at the time. I have used that as my jumping off point. Obviously, I have my own style now and I've evolved, but that is an awesome place to start. You can even go higher. Say you go for 500 each side, whatever. Just telling you what he told me, and it worked great for me. Now, that's for 5-minute chart, 15-minute chart, day trading charts, okay? If you're using a big chart, which I'm falling in love with, as you know in previous videos, go watch them. On big charts, you're never going to get 500 trades, right? If you're trading a 10-year period on a daily chart with an overbought oscillator of some sort, you're going to get 1 or 2 trades a year. How am I going to get to 500? Trade for 8,000 years? So that's for day trading. That's what the magic number is for, day trading. On big charts, I would love for you to use as much time as possible, right? So don't go back 2 years, go back 10, okay? Go back in time and see how it goes. If it can see a lot of different market conditions, I feel great going forward. So it's not the number, it's the amount of different market conditions, right? So try to get, maybe 2008 in there somewhere would be my tip if you're using testing or you're doing testing on big charts. Now, that all being said, there are people out there, a whole bunch of people that would just laugh at our discussion today and might even throw a punch in our direction, right? Because we're so darn stupid, right? These people would say, these testers, these traders would say that only what happens now matters. What does it matter what happened 500 trades ago in 2010? What does that matter? 2010 is not now, 2018. Who gives a rip? In which case, they would say there is no magic number because it's stupid, right? No amount of testing back then even makes a bit of difference. If you're one of these type of people, maybe 4 months back, test your system, hopefully simple. Test your system 4 months back. You don't have that many variables, right? Get the ones that you feel great about. Maybe not the ones that make the most money, but the ones you think that, have the best drawdown ratio, right? Or the most handleable, which is probably not a word. I don't think it is. The easiest drawdown to handle. So test it 4 months and then every month test it again. Reoptimize, reoptimize, reoptimize. Guess what that gives you? You're constantly in sync with the current market. You're not betting that the past is going to repeat. You're constantly in tune, right? You're constantly, oh, the market's changed. Look, I've reoptimized. I'm with it, right? I'm hip. That is the way that these types of traders build their trust. Even if they have a high statistical number, that gives them no trust. What gives them the trust is the reoptimizing on, say, a monthly basis. If you want to get crazy, you could do weekly or maybe even quarterly, right? But let's just say monthly. You reoptimize every month, right? And stay in sync. Okay, that sounds really good, right? And it sounds really good to me too, no lie. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I've tested it for lots and lots of hours. I've never been able to make it work. That's just me. Not saying it can't work. Because what you can get into is you can, if just use 4 or 5 months back, you curve fit your data to that 4 months. Then news comes out, and the next 4 months or the next, let's say, month is different. So then you re-optimize, but then news comes out and month is different. You can go many consecutive months, at least in my research, and curve fit it, curve fit it, curve fit it, and take a system, if you just stayed put, would have been fine. Whereas constantly adjusting to what just happened can lead you into a losing streak. I'm only sharing what's happened to me. There are people that swear by this, and you might be one of those people. And if so, I'd love to hear from you. Love to hear how you do it, because I love that concept. Okay. So there you go. Bottom line is this: I believe simple systems are the most trustworthy. So when you do your testing, start eliminating variables. To reiterate, for day trading, 15 minutes ish, try to see 300 trades in each direction. Longer charts, try to go back as far as possible. If you can't see, maybe even go back to 2000 if you can. I would love to see how your system does in 2000, 2002. If you can't go back that far, try 2008, 2009, right? Take a look at what your system does. I think you would, that would make you feel good knowing that if a crisis comes again, you know kind of how your system might perform. And all this being said, if you made it this far, hopefully you did, the best testing in the world, not even close, bud, is forward testing. The best testing is do a little testing and let it run on your charts, demo or otherwise. Take a look at a month and see how it did. Oh, this is what I would have adjusted, and then just a little bit and forward test it again. The most I've ever learned is watching it trade over months and years and years. That is the best testing. The problem with that, of course, is it takes time, right? We want it now. But forward testing is the best way. Make an adjustment, watch it trade, make another adjustment, and life goes on. Got it? All right, I hope that helps. So glad I got that YouTube comment and question, and I am absolutely happy to talk about it. That was fun. All my courses still on Kajabi Next. I will be meeting with someone about my website in July, so we'll see if that continues. But courses will still be available if you've already had them. There's scottwelsh.me, which is my website. Let's go back to that. Get on the weekly newsletter. Why wouldn't you? And there's the contact information. All right, everybody, that's all for this week. Thanks for writing in, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.